Hi, it's Faye of, obviously this is my channel. Joining you in the middle of quarantine for the Costuber 20 questions. I'm a little behind on this trend because, of course, quarantine has been affecting many people's mental health. I am one of those people, and as a result, it took me 3 weeks to film my petticoat thing, even though I had it finished for 3 weeks, and I just did not have the energy to film final looks, which is why it's being uploaded so late in the month. So now that I are finished getting that all ready to go, I decided to sit down and do this trend just to give you guys something and, enjoy a community thing. And here we go. What was your first costume? So, non-sewing, my first costume is a tie between, because they were made within the same month of each other, is Natasha Romanova in the Avengers, as well as Young Sif from the Thor comics. These are non-sewing things, they're just made of things that I found in my closet, and they got me into this whole thing. Editing Faye here. I missed one. One of the other first costumes that I did as part of my closet cosplay things is a lady Loki, because my friends also had a Loki costume, and we did a bunch of photos on one of our hangout days of the two of us, and it was really a blast. And yeah, that's kind of why I kept up doing this, even though I'm really bad about keeping in touch with old friends. I still look back on those times fondly. Kat is yelling at me, so I'm gonna open the door for her. Here she is. She desperately wanted to be on camera, apparently. But she hates being held, so I'm gonna let her go. If we're counting sewing, I would say my first costume was my first set of garb for the SCA, which is totally ahistorical. I would call it garbage now. And you can see it right here. It's based off of a simplicity pattern that was inspired by the movie Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. That should give you a good idea of just how unhappy I am with this costume now. I still have some of the fabric from it, which is cool. I don't fit in the costume at all, because it was made in the middle of the time I was at my most unhealthy, I could say. My favorite costume I've made, or what costume am I most proud of? My favorite costume I've made is probably going to be Young Sif, because yeah, I was 15 at the time I made it, and let's face it, I got some creepy responses at Tucson Comic-Con. But it was just such a fun costume to wear, even though it was kind of low effort, and it was perfect for conventions in Arizona, especially in Arizona summer, because it was hot outside, and it gets hot in those conventions. Perfect. The costume I'm most proud of is probably my petticoats, which you've seen or will see soon. And that's just because I was super proud of something that really only had 3 layers of material and weren't that stiffened. Like, I can kind of just throw it around and it does not hold its shape very well. But I'm proud of the amount of support I get, which is huge, because I'm in the middling range of needing support or not, and how hard it is to get support. So if I can do that with that, Imagine if, for example, I made proper buckram. You can see where I'm getting at with that. The costume I dream of making. That's hard. I don't know if it's because I just have too many, or the ones I want to make are within reach of me already. When it comes to like timeline wise, I'd probably say this surcoat from the Wenceslas Bible, dated to about 1380, which is a beautiful, beautiful style of surcoat where it's sideless but has sleeves with the tassels at the time. The issue with it lies in the fact that A, I'd want to do it fur lines due to the amount of fabric that is showing of the insides, which find enough fur in the middle of Texas to repurpose and make the fur lining for. The other one is this from the 1402 Bokake. I'm not going to say his name right because it sounds like something inappropriate, but from the... I will put that manuscript down in the description, and it's actually what I'm basing my kit for harness fighting in off of. So it's in the works, technically. I would be ideally making all of the arming garments, as well as the surcoats, and someone else would make the armor for me. I have an armor at home. He only makes mail though, so yeah. That both of those would take years to get going. I have plans for them, just slowly. Would I rather... what is a sewing task you love versus a sewing task you hate? Love eyelets. They don't look good because I do them usually late at night, and I'm usually drinking or partying with friends on Zoom or Discord by that time. But they get done quickly. They look pretty nice. Not the most even, but pretty nice. And they're just easy to do. Buttonholes, however. I love the look of them. I love doing them by hand because they look so much better than machine buttonholes. But oh my gosh, are they tedious. I have so many pour points to make, and all of them have almost 70 buttonholes. I just got to the sleeves of the first one. I should do a pour point video for you guys. Hey, Joey Miss is giving me video ideas. I do a lot of sewing for other people, so it comes to the question of what can I film, what can I not? Because these are unpaid, and they're for my boyfriend. I can do those. Yeah. Would I rather sew wool or silk? Wool. Mostly because I think if I did something out of silk, I would do so many mock-ups, most likely wearable mock-ups, and just cry the moment I cut into them. Wool, I love. It's so forgiving. I'm wearing wool here. I have wool, or 3 things that are currently in progress made out of wool on my chair over there. You know, it's just, I love it, especially Burnley and Trowbridge's tropical weight wool, because it's wool, but it does not kill you in Texas, which is great when you wear multiple layers of wool like I do. Would I rather go to a themed event or a pick your own theme event? I don't know, because most of my historical costuming events have been the SCA, which are pretty much a pre-1600 everything goes. I have plans to go to more properly themed event down to a fairly more rigid time period, but currently I haven't really had enough experience to decide my own answer for that. Here's hoping that within a year or two I'll have one. Would I rather go to a big ball or an intimate dinner? probably the intimate dinner. Two things that I majorly love. Food, well, that's a bit more complicated. Food, and few people, because I, like so many others within the community, am a huge introvert. People are a lot, and I prefer to spend time at home with my cat, who, once again, is right here and perfectly within bullying range. I'm so sorry, Pounce. Do I prefer to machine sew or hand sew? It depends on the project. When I'm doing more of my experimental stuff, I love to hand sew because it is historically adequate, I'd say, which is good because a lot of my experiments are things that would take a lot of strain historically, and so I want to make sure that they can handle that strain while also doing the thing I'm testing it for. So all of my supportive shifts, petticoats, all that stuff are hand sewn. Machine sewing I do on bigger pieces with lots of long things, although I'm trying to phase out as much of my hand sewing as possible, unless with the caveat that it's not a commission. If I did a fully hand-sewn commission, it would be far too expensive for most people, and I just would rather not do that to them. Do I like wigs, hair pieces, or my own hair? Since no matter what, really, my hair ends up covered at the end of the day, my own hair. I do the braids, like I normally do, tie them up, cover them, and boom, no one sees it. I can hide a multitude of sins, and still I do the historical hairstyling with as much knowledge that we have. So I have a couple of actually, within my period of the 14th century, documented versions of uncovered working women's hair, which I use to style my hair beneath the veil. Same with my Costube. I do the braids that people think led to the development of the Wulst, which goes underneath the haube and all that stuff. Basically, love my own hair, although with the newest chop, I have less hair to do things with, so maybe I'll end up adding fake hair in there soon, I don't know yet. Name 5 small businesses I love for costume things. Burnley and Trowbridge, Door Mill, I actually don't know if they're small or not. Probably, because most people I know haven't gone to them for wool before. Neshcraft is who I go to for pouches and such, because there's one fabric that I do not like to work with, and that is leather. So please, someone make all my leather for me. Boots by Beaumont. He doesn't do many different periods, or a different style of period shoes, but the ones that he make are good. They're fairly durable. I actually need to go and size up in a couple of the pairs I've ordered from him because my feet aren't as small as I thought they were. Really, I just misread the measuring instructions, and so I need to fix that. For accessories, I really enjoy going to True History Shop. They're a reseller of a lot of things, but they're a good source of Viking Age jewelry, and let's face it, I do Gotland. We have so many brooches that I just like to hoard them all. Which is really funny, because I am not doing as much costuming for the Viking Age right now. Soon, maybe, but for now, I'm focusing on my later period stuff. 5 YouTubers we should all check out. Ian Laspina. He doesn't do much soft kit stuff, but he does good things on armor, which is really cool because I don't know as much about armor as most of the people I talk with. So he helps me have a less embarrassing lack of knowledge. Popula Urbanum. Really small costuming channel, or really reenactment channel, but they have great advice, nice medieval sewing tutorials, and, you know, I love the Aussie reenactors, because they have so much less, or at least from what I've seen for the medieval era, fewer options down there than even the States, really. Because, yeah. Uh, so I just like to support the reenactors down under. Pursuing the knightly arts, mainly a harness fishing channel, so I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But it's fun to see the fighting that is based on the manuscripts with armor as worn rules, and they just have so much fun. I was planning on going to their deed this year, or the deed hosted by Kansas City Sword Guild, which is who they play with most often. But unfortunately, due to current world issues, it was cancelled. Oh, Pretty Shepherd? Wonderful hair tutorials. Oh my gosh. Her hair is glorious and I want it on my head. I hope that doesn't sound creepy. It's almost it is midnight actually. But I just love her hair. It's so gorgeous and tell me your magic. I can't get it to grow past my waist without breakage. What is your secret? And of course, Crow's Eye Productions. They do so many different periods within really good costuming. I mean, I saw a preview of their Viking Age stuff, which is kind of meh, but otherwise, really enjoy their production value, the research that they put into things. It's wonderful. Favorite color? Can I pick two? Because my favorite color for costuming is blue and yellow. That's the color scheme I go to because it's my arms. I also just look good in it. And it doesn't come into the issues that we can get with purple sometimes, which is my main favorite color. But, you know, blue and yellow look good. I like them. Pearls or sparkles? Okay, I'm probably gonna get hate for this, but I really like the simpler costumes, which means I'm not really a big fan of either. But as it goes, pearls. Sparkles get everywhere. Can't ever clean them up, and I have a black cat, so I know she's gonna get doused in them whenever I start working with any sort of sparkles. So, pearls, a nice easy accessory to dress up any look, and they don't make a mess. What is a costume trip I dream of taking? I want to go to Medieval Week in Gotland. I also just want to take a general research trip to Gotland because Viking Age Gotland is what I research. There isn't much out there beyond the Gotland Field School. And one of my research things I've always wanted to look into was the supposed plates that were found in a grave by a priest in 1826 that are allegedly lamellar that we've since lost. I just want to see, could there have been a foreign mercenary in Gotland who wore lamellar and who died and was buried there, similar to the Burka grave? So I just want to find it and see what's going on with that. Favorite cocktail? Screwdriver. Who is a costumer I'd love to meet? There are quite a few. I would probably say I'd love to meet Morgan. I know she's in the SCA. She's an Antier. I'm an Ansteora, so all basically halfway across the country. But who knows? Maybe I'll just try to make it out to costume college one year and meet everyone. Who knows? It's just expensive, and I'm a college student who spends way too much money on fabric. Plain or patterns? Plain. Love it so much. And then you can do some wacky color combinations. Also, I'm lazy and don't try to figure out what colors go with what patterns and what patterns I can match and everything. Just plain fabric. Plain and simple. Use a pattern or make my own. Make my own or adapt a pattern to what I'm looking for. Usually I start from geometric and make it more tailored, but with my 16th century stuff, being very well tailored is so important that I just modify a pattern, usually a Tudor tailor one, and make it fit to suit my needs. You saw this in my petticoat video, you saw this in my Waffenrock video. It's just super easy. Why not do it? What is my favorite era to wear? It's a tie between my 14th century and my 16th century stuff. And I wear them basically all the time when I'm at home, because the difference between a pattern or a costume that looks like a costume and a costume that looks like it's for living history is wear. You want the signs of wear if you want it to feel like you're breathing life into history, showing obvious repair, piecing, all of these things that we try not to show as much in costuming are so important to breathing life into history. And similarly, those are my favorite to make, although I do have a deep soft spot for my Viking and Vendel Age peploses, because they're just tubes that I pin at the shoulders and it makes it fashion. What is one thing you don't know about me? I am studying linguistics in college, which is something that I should talk about more, but I figure it's boring and most people wouldn't want to know about it unless they have some fun facts. Also, I have a weird obsession with historical underwear. It's kind of my research thing, and so I have a massive collection of just pictures of historical people in underwear, which to most people would look like a really weird porn thing. It's not. It's research, I swear. So, that was my historical costumers 20 questions, and I will probably do more takes or something, because I'm just sitting here in front of a camera talking and it feels weird. Alright, it's past midnight. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll edit this in the morning.